All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I am very, very excited about this call. Tonight we have Abbie Unger joining us, and we actually went to middle school together. Our parents attended the same church for many years, and we really didn't have a lot of contact over many years. Gosh, I would say 15, 20.
Probably.
Yeah. Until, of course, thanks to social media, and we were able to make some connection. And we have just, I would say, especially over the last year, have been able to build such a great relationship and have connected on so many different levels. She's a mom to 3 now. One's growing right now. And have you told anybody yet, or is it still kind of a
Yeah,
secret?
well, I'm 18 weeks, so
Okay.
yeah.
It's kind of hard to hide. So, she's a speaker, she is a writer, she's a former flight attendant. She is the founder of and owner of Flight Attendant Career Connection, where she actually, just like us, provides coaching, just a little bit different. But as you will hear tonight, you'll begin to kind of see how her line of work and what she does and how she connects to people really does kind of fall in line with what we do. And she's going to offer a lot of great advice and great tips. Her Facebook group, no, I'm sorry, let's go back a little bit. She's written 2 books. One of them was called Looking Skyward. It's Turn Your Flight Attendant Dreams into Reality. And most recently, she wrote Make Money with Facebook, and that's why we're here tonight, because I read this book. It's 40 pages. If you have not gotten it yet, I know a lot of you have already gotten it, but if you have not gotten it yet, you got to get this book. It's like $6, and will take you literally a night, maybe 2, if you have kids, to read it. But it's got excellent information. I was going through this book, and I just kept having like these ideas and just thinking about all the possibilities of how I could do the things that she talked about in this book. So she actually has probably a couple of Facebook groups, but this one particular that got attention has over 10,000. Is that correct?
Over 12,000.
Over 12,000 now.
Yeah.
So, and Facebook actually took notice of this. They featured her group and her business in Facebook stories, which was then followed by a request to do interviews with Mashables.com. They came to her house, right, to do an interview to actually share with Mark Zuckerberg. She was interviewed by Huffington Post, various podcasts. She was a guest on the Australian morning show. So, I mean, all of this has stemmed from this concept of building a group that just went crazy. So that's not all. She's even working on the possibility of a reality show. So that's pretty cool. And all of that just came from taking the initiative to start this group. Had no idea where it would go. Did you think, oh, I'm going to start this group and have 12,000 members in it? No, it's crazy. No. So with all of that said, and as I was reading this book, I thought, I know if Abbie can do this for, a flight attendant, this is her niche, is a flight attendant. And most of you think of that and you're like, if you're like me, you're like, a flight attendant? Really? That's the niche market? But it's huge, and a lot of people come to Abbie for help, and she's become somewhat of a celebrity. People take notice of her on occasion when she's out in public. So it's kind of cool. So if she can do that and build relationships and draw people to her through a Facebook group, don't you think that you could offer something to people and bring them in and draw them into your niche market by starting a group? So that's what I want Abbie to talk about. We're going to do a call that should last about 30 minutes, and then hopefully we'll have about 10 minutes to maybe take a few questions, because I think that you guys will have a lot of questions. So Abbie, I'm going to let you take it from there.
Okay. All right. So I am super excited to be talking with y'all and just getting to share about something that I'm passionate about. And something that I'm passionate about is building relationships and selling through relationships. So the way that I have sort of done that is with a Facebook group. Like, I'm going to try to call her Rebecca, but when I knew her, she went by Valisa. So if I call her Valisa, I'm talking about Rebecca. So
there's a few people that know me as Valisa.
Okay, so if I say that, that's the same person. But I'm really excited to talk to you about building relationships using Facebook groups in particular. Now, there's been those of y'all who have been involved in social media marketing for a while. Of course, social media is, you've got to be on social media if you're growing a business. It's just where everyone is now. Everyone hangs out. It's like being, talking over the fence used to be, but now it's social media, which gives us huge influence over people that we would never meet. And I love social media. I just love it. Like Rebecca said, her and I, if they weren't for Facebook, we would not be, I wouldn't know anything about her now, but because when you leave middle school, you don't always stay connected. And then, we connected back up because our lives are kind of parallel in some ways now. Both moms and running a business and trying to be mommies and wives and all that kind of stuff. So I have a heart. I just love social media. I think it's cool. Especially if you're a stay-at-home mom, it keeps you connected to the world in some ways. Unfortunately, I probably get most of my news from social media. You want to be if you want to build a business and build influence. So the thing I like about Facebook groups is, let me go back a little bit. So if you've been on social media for a while, then you know that Facebook has recently changed the way that they will show what you post to people who are either your friends or your fans on your like page. So there's three, I might need to start even more with the basics. I don't want to lose anybody. So there's sort of three things you can do on Facebook. You have your profile, which is your personal profile. When you log in, you set that up. So that's mine, Abbie Unger. I share pictures of my kids and I talk about my breakfast or whatever. It's just my personal page. Then you would have what's called a like page or a fan page for your business or for yourself, kind of depending. I actually have two. So I have one for my business, Flight Attendant Career Connection. I also have a like page or a fan page just for myself called Abbie Unger Coach Travel Speak. So that's sort of like a billboard that I use for my business. If I want to advertise something, if I'm running a special, if I'm trying to really reach outside of people who are already my fans, then that's what I would use my fan page for. It used to be that Facebook, whenever you posted to your fan page, they just showed that ad or whatever it was to everyone who liked you. All, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 people, they would see your little ad. Well, they changed it because they got smart because they're a business. I can respect the hustle. And they said, you know what, maybe we should start charging these businesses a little bit since they are actually advertising on our platform. So they sort of probably about, I want to say 18 months ago, did this huge algorithm change and people lost their reach. It was cut in half, which means some companies that had like 100,000 fans, instead of 100,000 people seeing their ad every time or every time they had a new color shoe come out, was cut in half. I can't even imagine what the hit their sales took. So it was really a big wake-up call. The thing that I like about Facebook groups, because that's the third thing you can have as a group, and that's free. There's no advertising. There may be a time when when Facebook catches up with our groups and starts, trying to monetize off us. I think what they charge is totally fair. So if that happens, that happens. Because even now to advertise, it's only a few dollars and you can reach hundreds of people. So it's really not, it's a win-win. They're advertising kind of model. So I'm not mad at them for that. But the group I really love because they still will show, if I post something, all 12,000 of my members can see that. It will show up in their Facebook feed, especially if they are active in my group, which means they've been commenting or liking or visiting. When they join my group, Facebook will default to give them a notification every time someone posts in my group. So actually at the beginning, and if they really like my group, they'll keep that notification turned on because it defaults. And every time I or anyone else posts, they'll get a little notification. If they turn that off, it still will show up in their Facebook feed. And then they, of course, can go visit the group and then see everything because it shows up. So that's what I really love about Facebook groups right now is that it is free and everything shows up all the time. Another thing that I love about Facebook groups is the ability to build relationships inside the group. So let's say that I had an email list and it had 12,000 people on it. That would be amazing. But if someone had a question, one of my tribe members that's in my list had a question, I would have to answer every one of their questions, all 12,000 people's questions all the time. But in the group, if they ask a question, if they say, anybody know the starting pay for Delta? Because I work with aspiring flight attendants. Anyone know the starting pay for Delta? Someone who actually works for Delta, because I don't know that off the top of my head, but either a new hire or someone who works for Delta that instantly knows it's, $21.37 an hour, they can just answer it, where I don't have to do that research and they don't have to wait on me. And usually the question gets answered before I even see it, which is nice. Now, I do have a responsibility because this is my group. I do make sure that the information is correct. I wouldn't necessarily Google that, but if I knew someone was giving an opinion that wasn't quite on, like y'all are in health and fitness. So if someone's like, oh no, you totally should only eat broccoli for 3 days, you would be like, well, broccoli is a healthy vegetable and we do want it to be part of our diet, but you probably want to only eat broccoli for 3 days. So that's kind of where y'all would have, that's an example of kind of how you don't have to answer all the questions, but you want to be kind of monitoring the questions because you're still responsible for the information. Okay, so that's kind of why I love Facebook groups in general. I love the relationship building. All right, so the way you start your Facebook group. So I know how Rebecca does Facebook groups on the Beachbody side, where she every, I think 30 days starts a new group. It has like 25 people in it or so, and they're kind of all together and really close. That is a model of Facebook group that totally works. Mine is an open free-for-all kind of Facebook group where I have, which y'all can probably tell by the number, 12,000 people in it. It's more of a free-for-all. It's not like an intimate thing where there's just a group of us working towards something. I use this group my group is free to join. Anyone can join. You get to stay as long as you're nice. I don't vet you in any kind of way. We have current, former and aspiring flight attendants, so it's kind of a nice mix. People who've flown before, people who are flying now, and people who want to be flight attendants, which is really great because that's lots of people to answer questions. And it's really a marketing tool. That's what it is. It's like having a store where I want people to come in, and then once they come in, I can show them what I have for sale because so I hope that kind of makes sense. Like it's really like a store. So it's open to the public. And as long as you're behaving yourself, you can come in. Once you come in, so let's talk about setting up your Facebook group really quick. So if you want to do one like the model that I'm talking about, where it's just sort of open and you're sort of collecting people because you're giving value. And then as you build that relationship, you can sell to them through a relationship. What you want to do is set your group. You want to name your group something that reflects what you want the purpose of the group to be. When you name your group, which mine is named Flight Attendant Career Connection, when I went to name my Facebook group, I didn't name it like the same thing as my book, Looking Skyward, because that's a cute name when you see it on Amazon and you know the category it's in. You can kind of quickly figure out what it is. But if Facebook just were to suggest to you to join the group Looking Skyward, you may or may not know. It could be anything. Bird watching, like Jesus Rapture watching. Like there's a million things Looking Skyward could be. So I went with something that was very self-explanatory. So if y'all want to do something like this, I would encourage you, whether it's on the health and fitness side or, I know y'all's girl, Shalene, she's sort of, she's in the health and fitness space and trying to break out into the business space. And she, if she were to start a Facebook group, since she's sort of on a new path, she probably wouldn't call it health and fitness, whatever. She would call it whatever she's selling. I think, what is she getting? Her confidence thing, or even just, social or business tricks for the whatever. I don't know. I can't think what she would call it. It would be cool though. I love her. She's one of my like favorite, online celebrity kind of people. And she's really trying to move from that health and fitness area into the business area. So she wouldn't use a health and fitness thing in her title. Okay. So that kind of makes sense. So I want you, as you're thinking about your group that you're going to start, because you're going to be so excited, you're going to start a group. I want you to be kind of thinking, which direction do you want to go? Do you want to go in the health and fitness? Do you want to go, maybe, I know Rebecca has a new group for moms, multitasking moms. Is that what it's called? Yes.
Yeah, multitasking mamas with vision.
With vision. So she's even branching out, a little bit in a different direction too, and offering some value in a different space as well about something else that she's passionate about and knows a lot about. So she, of course, there's nothing fitnessy in that title. So she did a great job naming it. So yay, because that's sort of the direction that she's going. It's very clear what her group is about. So I want you to sort of keep that in mind as you, when you open your group, that's going to be sort of a catch-all for everyone, your free-for-all group. Okay, so you want to do the setting as closed. You'll have 3 choices: secret, closed, and public. I like closed the best for this because you want people to be able to find you, but it gives you a little bit of protection. Of course, nothing is protected in social media. Anything can be found by anybody, but it does keep, like, I'm in a career space. So it keeps my posts, if one of my members posts something and they happen to be friends with like their supervisor at work, but now they're looking for a new job because they're on a career site, it keeps all of their business from just generally popping up in the news feed of their friends. So that's why I like closed. You can see who's in the group. It's easy to find the group. You can search for the group. Facebook will recommend your group. It's not a secret, but it's not public. All the posts don't show up for everyone. So pick closed, unless you, for some reason, have a prerogative or a reason to do it differently. But that's what I like. I like the closed group. And that kind of just gives you a little bit of protection. When you get started, you're going to start your group. You're going to name your group. You're going to set it as closed, and then you're going to write a description. If you have a website that you want to link to, put that in the description. If you haven't, put your email address in the description. Just say, if you have any questions or if you want to connect, you can put that in the description. They're really liberal with letting you put links and email addresses and things like that in your description. I actually have a really, really long description. It's almost like a miniature website. It talks a little bit about some of my products. I've got 2 testimonial quotes on there. So I've got, if someone were to read the description, they would like really know what I'm all about. And it's easy to contact me, and it has my website link in the description, which is really awesome. They may catch on to that soon too, but they let you put almost anything in there. So that's your description. You're going to tag it with 3 tags. So a tag is sort of, it's a filing system. So my tags, I think, are like flight attendant, stewardess, and then I think it's like Flight Attendant Academy, which is a company that trains flight attendants that's actually a competitor, but it let me tag it with that. So that kind of works. If someone's searching for any of those things, then Facebook will suggest my group to them. It also helps them if they were to just search in the groups for flight attendant groups, mine would pop up because it's tagged. So it's very important that you tag it, what you want. If you're doing health and fitness, moms, and then the third one, I don't know, weightlifting or yoga or Pilates or whatever, you're sort of, you've niched yourself into, or whatever you really want to collect people. That's what you're going to use for your tags. And that helps people find you. Now you've got a group. So now you got to start growing, and now you got to start building those relationships. So first you're going to invite everybody that you know on Facebook, just on your regular page, as long as it's something that you feel comfortable doing. you would just sort of share it over there and say, hey, I just started a new group for moms that are trying to build a business so that we can kind of connect and help each other. Here's the link. And you would just sort of share it just sort of like that and invite your friends. And it will start to snowball a bit as you give value in the group, because Facebook, just in their algorithms, will see how engaged your members are. So they'll start suggesting it. You'll also have members who say, oh, I'm in this great group, you should join. So it sort of starts a little bit of a snowball. But before you get big or before you start really growing, you need to start at the beginning, sort of acting like you're big. So what I mean by that is you have to really start getting in the habit and getting used to engaging your members, even if there's only a few. So as it starts at the beginning, that's going to be what gets the snowball going. You can't wait until you have 25, 30 people even to start asking them questions or having them engage. Hi, Matt. He's trying to pretend he's not there, but he's there. We got to visit. Okay, so in the way you do that, the way you do the engagement, you build engagement, the best way is really to post questions. This sort of works for your like page or your fan page too, can increase your engagement by asking questions. Like I know Rebecca even asked a question on her page not that long ago. It was something like, are you drinking wine tonight? I mean, it was like totally random. And I commented on it and I was like, no, because I'm pregnant. Thanks a lot. But it just is a silly kind of thing, but her engagement went way up. So Facebook's like, oh, Rebecca's popular. Wow, everybody loves talking to her, just because she, posted something that was a little bit even off topic. So that's one of my points is don't be afraid to go off topic in a way that will engage people. So there's this saying, I don't even know if y'all have heard it, but it's Bye Felicia. I don't know if you've seen, it's like from a movie from the 90s. And there was like this girl who lived around the corner, and like anytime she came up, they would be like, bye Felicia, or something like that. I don't know. But now it's sort of like a thing to say to people that, because this is what you say, bye Felicia. And then they say, who's Felicia? And then you say, exactly, she's nobody like you, or something like that. But anyways, okay, so that's totally random. But I didn't know what it meant. And I thought, and so I asked, I knew what it meant, but I'm like, what does this actually mean? Like, where did this come from? So I posted in my group, what is Bye Felicia all about? And they thought that was hilarious, because first they were like, you're an old white lady, and like, like being kind of silly with me. But people were posting all about it and then sharing like the clips from the movie where it came from. And it was one of the most, like, everyone was laughing, and I could just tell that people were just engaged in the silliness. And it had absolutely nothing to do with flight attendants, but everyone enjoyed hanging out in my space and in my group for a little bit. So don't be afraid to go off topic. You don't have to keep it really strict. Building relationship, just like any relationships, friendships, marriage, you don't only talk about like marriage stuff, like let's talk about love and respect, and that's all we ever talk about. No, you talk about silly stuff, and you talk about like other things, and those moments when you laugh over the silly things are really what can connect you in any relationship. So don't be afraid to kind of do that. You also do want to post questions, though, that are on topic. You don't want to be completely rogue in all of your posting. So for the most part, I do post things that are on topic. The post that I do the most, that I find the most success with, is a post that sounds like this. It says, hey, it's Monday or Tuesday or whatever day. What are you doing to get yourself closer to your goals this week? Are you rewriting your resume? Are you working out so that you can feel your best at your interview? Are you applying to a new airline? Are you reading a new book about your new future career? What's going on? Or what are you doing to move on? And so the reason that I love this question is because I sell resume rewrites. I sell a book and a workbook about how to become a flight attendant. And I also sell interview coaching. So within my post, I have listed all of my products without actually selling. I haven't said, don't forget to read my book, Looking Skyward. I just say, who's reading a new book? And normally someone will in the comments say, oh, I just got your book. I'm reading Looking Skyward. And then other people will say, oh, you have a book? And I never had to advertise it. So people don't feel like they're being sold to. And really, sometimes they only say, well, I'm working out or I'm interviewing. And it's not like a surefire sale thing. I really do want to know what's going on with everyone. But it is another way for me to sort of list my products or talk about my products without being salesy. So that's my favorite one. There's no links in it. I don't link to my website. I don't link to my book. I really just say, what are you doing? And of course, all the things in the list are not things I sell. I don't sell working out or filling out applications. So it's not just an ad. But that's one of my favorite ones that I think helps people connect and also helps me get my products out there. So those are the kinds of things I want you to be thinking about when you're posting your questions. You know, what's the end game, or is this going to get people talking about some of the things that I sell or some of the things that I offer. Okay. So the second, I don't even know. It's the second on my paper, but I don't think I've gone in order. So I don't know what number y'all are on. But another thing for relationship building is, I sort of mentioned this before, but you want to make sure all the questions get answered. So like I said, I have kind of a free-for-all group, and it's growing rapidly. So the same question gets asked over and over and over and over again. And it's usually something like, what should I wear to the interview? Or who's hiring right now? What airlines are hiring right now? So I love that, because that means I can quickly identify a new person because they're asking the same question that's been asked. Sometimes that gets frustrating for some of my other members, but you know, they may just need to move on if they're going to get frustrated by a Facebook group. So I try to just, not worry about that, but really answer the questions, even if the question's been asked a million times. And one of the best ways to build relationships when you're answering the questions is to be generous. So like I've said before, I have a book, and I also have an interview workbook. Pretty much any question that they could ask me in the Facebook group is answered inside my book that I sell. So I sell the information that they're asking me. But when they ask me, what do I need to put in my resume, or what do I need to wear to the interview, I answer their question with the answer. I don't say, I'm generous with the answer. I'm generous with the information I have. I don't say, well, you can find this in my book, Looking Skyward. Here's the link to Amazon. I give them the answer. I'm generous with the answer, because that's how you build a relationship. Because then they can trust me, and then maybe they will buy my book, or maybe they'll buy coaching, or maybe they'll send someone else to the group, or maybe they won't, and they'll just say, thank you for helping me. But being generous with your answers and making sure all the questions get answered is really huge for providing value to the members of your group, and it will make them want to come to you. It also establishes you as the expert because they trust you. It's all about trusting you. Once you're generous with them and you answer their question and you're open with them, then usually after that, then I get a private message, asking for more help or where can I find more information, things like that. So being generous with the questions and just answering the questions, be generous with what you know, usually will open a door to selling them something because they like you and they want to support you because you've been generous to them. I think we've all felt that way, where you're like, I'm going to buy this from this person just because, I just support her, and I just, or I'm going to share something on Facebook just because I support her, and it's because they've probably been generous to you in the past. All right. Okay, so there's something I kind of want to touch on too. So I taught in the book, Make Money with Facebook Groups. I say, don't sell through private messaging. And Rebecca sent me a message and she said, I read your book. I love it. I sell through private messaging. What do you think about that? And it made me think, because she sold to me, or she sales pitched me, I don't even know what it's called, right after Ty was born, my first child, so almost 4 years ago. And, we weren't close then or anything. And I got a really nice message from her. And I thought, when she asked me that question, I thought back to the way she does it. And when I thought back to the way she does it, I realized that's not what I'm talking about when I say don't do it, because we had a relationship before. When I say in the book, don't sell through private messaging, I'm talking more about when you have this just open season group. When someone joins my group, I don't private message them and sell them, or even private message them and offer them my products, or even private message them at all. I wait until they private message me because I don't have a relationship with them yet. Now, from time to time, someone does send me a referral and say, my cousin, I told my cousin about you. She wants to be a flight attendant. Can you send her a message? I told her you're going to email her or send her a message. Then I would send her a message, invite her to the group, send her to my website, maybe talk about my book, because the relationships, we've been introduced. So that's okay. But I don't initiate private messaging to sell. Sometimes I have people who are not me try to sell their products to people in my group through private messaging. And I find that to be very, very frustrating and sneaky. So I think that's why it really stood out to me to put that in the book, because I've even had competitors who sell, advice to aspiring flight attendants, private message people in my group trying to sell them their products. Well, I'm the one that's really working on the group, and these are my people in my tribe. I mean, it would be like if you went into Starbucks and you're trying to sell, Jamba Juice or something. You wouldn't want, that's just not fair. Like, you don't go into Starbucks and sell Starbucks people something different because they walked into Starbucks. Starbucks owns the building. They're paying the insurance. It's their place. So you wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want to go into someone else's group and start private messaging their people. But if you have a relationship with someone, and I know Beachbody has some training on this too, so that's definitely valuable about how to kind of go about it. And, you can tell when you get like a form sales pitch in your email or in your private message, as opposed to getting something that's really like, I think that you really could benefit from this because I know you. I really know you. So that's kind of the difference. Okay. Or did you come on because I have to stop talking, or no?
No, you're good.
Okay. I was like, all of a sudden I heard you and I was like, oh, maybe I
Sorry.
That's okay. Like the music at the Oscars and when it starts playing and you're like, okay. So something else I wanted to talk to you about. Once you get your group going and you have people in it, not every person, I don't know, y'all probably have never experienced this, but not every person in the world is nice and sweet like all of us. Some people are not nice and sweet. And those kind of people really like to troll around the internet and sort of like throw their negativity on people. Some people do it on purpose. Some people do it just because they come across wrong when they're typing, and I'm sure if you were talking to them, maybe it would not be as mean as it sounds when they're typing it. But you may start to get negative comments in your group. Negative, first of all, I want to make sure everyone feels very empowered, because this is kind of, I felt like I struggled with this at the beginning, but I am empowering you to say this is your playground, this is your soccer ball, and if they don't like your rules, then they can leave. This is your area. This is, if you feel like they need to go, then you can delete them. You can delete any comments that you want. You can delete people that you want. Is yours. This is your game. If they don't like the way you do it, then they can totally go start another one. And I hope that it's awesome and it's over there, but you don't need to sit in my group and tell me why you don't like it, or what I'm doing wrong. That's just a waste of everyone's time. So just, if you have people in there, you can delete them. You can delete comments that are negative or snarky or inappropriate. You can delete them. You may have people say, I sometimes have people say like, that's censorship. And I'm like, of course, like my Facebook group is not like all of America. Like there's no like constitution for Abbie's Facebook group. There's just not. Like, I'm just the boss of it. That's just how it is. Of course, they have the ability to leave or not leave based on their American freedom. But in my group, it's not a democracy. It's just, of course I don't say that to them, but I've kind of had to really like come to terms with that within myself so that I don't feel bad when I kick someone out for being ugly and negative. If you have someone who posts something negative and you can tell that they probably aren't meaning to be negative, or they're usually not negative, when that happens to me, I will send them a message and say, I deleted your comment because I felt like it could come across as unkind. And so I just I just wanted to let you know why I deleted it, but thank you for providing value to our group. And that's usually received one of two ways. The first way, of course, is, oh, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to be that way. And the second one is, well, la, 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 la. And then you can just feel really good because then you know that you were right and they really are mean people, so you can just kick them out. So it's kind of one of two ways. But I do try to give people the benefit of the doubt and message them from time to time if I feel like, in the past they've been really valuable. I had one lady who is a United flight attendant. She's been flying for them forever. And sometimes her comments were awesome. And sometimes her comments were just mean. Like they were mean. Like, I don't know why you would ask that question. It's just common sense. If you don't know that, then you're too stupid to be a flight attendant. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's so mean. And so I sent her, but she'd been a flight attendant forever. So I sent her a message and I was like, it's coming across, it's not kind. And she said, okay, okay, I'll fix it. I'll be nice. And I did that 3 times. And on the 3rd time I just said, I'm really sorry. It's just, I know you're not meaning to be mean, but it's just reading that way. So I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to have you leave the group, or I'm going to have to remove you from the group or something. Oh gosh. And then she became my biggest anti-fan. And anytime I'm in the media or anything, she comments on it, like really ugly things about me. And so that, I don't even know. I don't want to scare y'all off, but I'm just telling you just from time to time like that just sort of happens. Like there will be negativity. This is not your fault. It actually kind of means that you're mattering, right? You matter, or else they wouldn't even notice you if you didn't matter. So she kind of follows me around a little bit and says ugly things about me, but whatever. I feel like I get the last laugh though, because she's in the comments and I'm in the article, right?
That's right.
So I guess I hurt her feelings. I don't know, but you may get some haters too. So I went from kind of negativity into just full-fledged haters, like people who they're not accidentally being unkind. Like they don't like you. They don't like what you stand for. They don't like that you charge for anything. They don't like, who knows? They just found something they don't like about you. And they're basically saying that, like, we don't like you. So these are kind of the haters. This hurts. This is tough. When you get people who just flat out say you shouldn't be charging for this, or you're scamming people, or how could you, people need your services, how could you charge for them? That's tough and it hurts. And when people say you're a fraud and, this isn't real, and y'all probably get, it's a pyramid scheme, or how can you sell that pyramid scheme all the time? So that's probably what y'all would get kind of as the haters, people posting, they don't know really what you do, and that you're like, what? I cry with people and hold their hand. I'm not selling a pyramid scheme. So when that happens,
you nailed it.
See, I can imagine. So when that happens, you need to remove them from the group. Don't worry about building a relationship with them unless maybe you've had one in the past and there's a reason.
They're not your people.
Right. They're not. They're just not. And you need to just sort of let them go, because if they feel that strongly about you, they probably need to go and heal away from you. There's no need. You don't need to try to make up with them. And then on a personal level, because that hurts really bad, one thing that I do is I have a list of things that people have said about me that are really nice. Mm-hmm. From Facebook, or testimonials from my clients. And I read those. I keep them nearby and I read them when it really starts to smart, because that critic and that hater can be so loud.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes like 15 or 20 positive people to offset this one ugly person. So that is something that I really want to encourage you to do if you don't already have a file of sort of like accomplishments or successes or just people who cheer you on. I sometimes do reach out to my Facebook, like my personal profile, and I'll just say like, "Ooh, I just had a really, had someone that just, a hater or something, I don't know." And so it will sometimes cause people to just be encouraging to me, people who've known me forever, people, like aunts and uncles and cousins and people I went to school with and, that have known me for a long time and really know me. They don't know my celebrity online self, but they know me. So that's encouraging too. And then, of course, you also can just listen to Taylor Swift's song, Shake It Off, and dance and shake it off. Because, of course, she wrote that song because she's been in that position so many times. And I don't know, y'all's kids probably love it as much as my kids do. When you see, a 3-year-old shake it off, it just makes you feel so much better. So those are really the two ways I cope. It's with that song and with reading my accomplishments.
Excellent. I do the same.
You do the same thing.
With the list. Yeah, with the list. I totally have a list of like awesome stuff that coaches and clients have sent me, and I'll refer to it all the time in situations like that. That's a great idea.
You really do have to, because, you just do. Because it just hurts. It smarts, Okay, so Facebook groups, and I've said this a couple times, I sell through relationships. That's why I love Facebook groups, is because it allows me to sell through relationships. And it's not just me being in a relationship with people, they are in relationship with each other, which means they can advertise to each other because they're in relationship with each other. And you will begin to get some, I call them sort of like brand ambassadors or something, which I didn't make that up, but I've sort of taken over and redefined it for myself. Because like I said before, if someone asks a question, or they'll say something like, "Oh, I've been trying and I can't make it through the interview, or I can't make it past the video interview. What should I do?" Someone will say, "Oh, you should talk to Abbie. She has interview coaching." And I haven't had to suggest that. Someone else has suggested it. And the society that we live in now, advertising is not as, it's not as, I don't know what the word is, successful as it has been in the past. It used to be that we just got all of our information about products just from ads. There was no online review system. There was no Amazon review. There was no social media.
Abbie, let me ask you right there. So how long did it take you? Because I know a lot of people are going to get in this group and they want things to happen like that. How long had you been doing the group, and how big had the group gotten when you finally started seeing that momentum where people were talking about your content? Because it probably wasn't right away, right? You had to go.
It wasn't right away. I'm trying to think back to when it started, which it wasn't that long ago, but you will get your first group of people will be there and fall in love with you because they're at the beginning.
And they already knew you probably.
Well, all of my people, these people were new, but it was like we were in it together, kind of.
Right.
And the first sort of group, I probably had 50 people in the group. 10 of them had maybe gotten hired, and they were just so excited that it did sort of start, I want to, thank you, Abbie, kind of thing sort of started, and that's when it sort of started. So those people and I can remember, I know who my first 10 members were.
Right. Right.
I still I'm friends with most of them on Facebook, and it's just because it was smaller, we sort of built a relationship and they feel like they really know me. So that helped.
Right.
But I didn't really start selling products until probably 3 or 4 months in, which would have been, I was close to 1,000 members.
Oh, see, that's still really good.
Yeah.
Listen, Abbie, we're at the 45-minute mark, so I don't want to keep people too much longer, but I do.
Okay, that's good.
I would love to open up just for a couple of questions if anybody has anything that came to them as we were listening.
Yes.
Anybody want to jump in with a question about the groups or how to get them started or how to make money with them? If you've read our book, I know you've gotten a lot of that information, and if you haven't read it, I definitely recommend you can go to Amazon and get it. It's just $6, 40 pages.
On Amazon.
No questions, really? Oh, I was going to ask you one quick question. So you said you
Sure.
never link people but did I hear you say that in the description you have just an email address or you have your website there as well?
I have my website there too. And it's not that I never post a link. I answer their question.
Right.
I do sometimes post a link if I feel like their question or if I feel like that would be appropriate. But I never just say, go buy my book.
Right. Right. Gotcha. All right. Well, nobody has any questions then? All right. I'm sure they'll come to you later.
Yes.
Well, go start a group because I'm telling you, it's totally worth it. I started this group, probably 15 days ago. I think I have about 65 members, and it's awesome. And anytime you get a group of women together, somebody's going to start talking about fitness, right? Every single one of these multitasking mamas with vision are talking about how they want to get back in shape and put that back in their life. And I'm not saying a thing. I'm just taking notes, So find out what your niche is and who you want to speak to. Chalene Johnson talks about this, about envisioning the person you connect with and who connects to you, and who you got to really narrow it down because you don't want everybody in your group. You want those specific people who understand you and you're going to understand them. And so when you read this book, I'm telling you, all kinds of ideas were going through my mind. I was so excited, and I was writing notes down. And one more question before we get off. I want to know if you advertise for I know you said you posted on your fan page, but as soon as I opened mine, I made a video where I advertised the group and put it on my fan page, and I drew in people that I had never communicated with before. So do you ever do anything like that outside of your personal page?
No.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
but I think that was an awesome idea. And two, I was thinking this afternoon about another benefit of the group is, I have a YouTube channel and I have a this and I have a website and I have a that. But really, as I create content, I can sort of dump it all into the Facebook group.
Right.
So they don't have to be following my YouTube page, my blog, and my newsletter to hear from me. I can always link back to everything. So, that was a great idea to do a video.
I was excited. I'm telling you, I was getting so many ideas reading your stuff. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you got a lot out of this and that your wheels are turning and that you're ready to go start a group. Don't wait. Don't wait for timing to be perfect.
Yes, don't wait.
Just open it. You can close it if it sucks. All right, guys. Thanks, Abbie. I appreciate it. You guys have a good night.